Oh man. So a friend of mine just had a relative that passed away. And you know, when that happens, I immediately know where they're at. Well, I don't know that. That's not exactly true. Exactly. The fact of the matter is I had a near death experience and they showed me where God was, and it wasn't where I was. I was in this place for a special reason, because you're not going to get to go. You have to go back. And they kind of, they tell you can stay as long as you want, but what they don't tell you is that you don't go back as someone else or different. You go right back exactly into the spot where you were. Time doesn't exist there, but it definitely continues to exist in the piece of time space that you were supposed to occupy for a set amount of time. Now, the weakness of men, the reason that we have spirituality turned into religion is because of the animal in us that fears death. We don't want to think about our own mortality. If people did understand what comes next, the world would be a better place. If everyone could have a near-death experience, the world would be a better place. Because we wouldn't be so selfish, self-centered, egotistical, maniacal, just all of the most horrible things of the animal, okay? When you see an animal guarding a carcass and other animals come over to eat, and it's like, death on you, man. Nothing but claws and fangs. That's how it is. That's how the billionaires and the ultra wealthy, the unnatural wealthy feel about us. It's obvious because not a single fucking one of them. Because you see, they think and truly believe that they're superior to us, and I can tell you that where we end up, they are definitely going to be the lowest of the low. You see, I believe the near-death experience, and the reason that I got trapped into the fucking religious anus for so long was that so much of what we understand and want to be is difficult for us. Okay? Jesus Christ is a model for what we failed to be. And there were many messiahs before him, okay, that were the exact same person with 12 disciples, with, all the exact same stuff. It's just that he was just the latest iteration that stuck. We know who we want to be, and we find that incredibly difficult because we have this biological system that is fighting us constantly. The animal, the physical animal, that this is the microtubule system all throughout your body. You have more tubulin in your body than you have neurons in your brain. What the fuck? That is staggering. That fact alone is staggering. And basically, one of my heroes, Sir Roger Penrose, has been studying tubulin and microtubules now as part of consciousness and reality. Being an observer. Where do you reside when they put you under anesthesia? Well, you go into your microtubule system. And it's not manufactured like DNA. It's taken apart and then reassembled on the other side with new information. It's very strange, okay? We just fall short. I see it. This is where my fear comes from for the future. Is because I see the animal and how strong it is, and how it can corrupt a human soul to the point where starving children is not enough to make them give up one thin fucking dime because they feel they're better. They feel they're better, and they deserve this wealth. Nobody gave me anything on a silver platter, and that's what I talked about the cartoon the other day. It's just disgusting that these humans who think themselves so superior lack spirituality. You cannot have intelligence without spirituality. All you have is knowledge. Big difference. What we could be. Part of knowing how bad things are is knowing how good they could be. If we hadn't allowed religion to put power in the hands of people who would abuse it and use it against us, okay? Started thousands of years ago, many thousands of years ago. I imagine there was a head honcho when they were throwing up Stonehenge, you know what I mean? It's always got religion in there somewhere. It's always been used to control men. But if you go back before the Druids, if you go back 50,000 years, okay, the only science were those lights in the sky. That was it. And it was a very long time ago before one looked up and went, wait a minute. The sun used to come up over here, and now it comes up over here. And they started paying attention, and religion was born. Men trying to understand the sky. Why does the sun go over here and stop for 3 days before proceeding back? And because they knew this happened, they used that to their advantage to make others believe they had contact with God. I died. I didn't get contact with God. But I know when you shed this shell, this body, that basically will fight tooth and nail for every breath of life, okay? Well, once you get rid of it and you shed it, it is such a load released. But everybody within this crystal, the only way I can describe it, I've tried for a very long time to describe it, is that since we all live in our own little slice of time space, okay, and this is not a disputed fact, then that part of reality that we make up is our special area. And before we came here, all the information was created. Everything in perfection. Every choice that you were going to make or will make, because time only exists in this persistent reality. There it doesn't. It's such a hard concept for the human mind to understand. Just like the amount of tubule in your body. There's more neurons than in your brain. There's more neurons in your brain than there are stars in the galaxy. The wonderment of how the little machines in our bodies work with hydrogen bonds, and hydrogen, the most plentiful element. I mean, you don't need much for these little machines to want to form. It's the chicken and the egg, right? Did the machine that copies DNA come first, or did DNA come first and then the machine to copy it came later? Maybe. Quite possible. That's kind of the theory I believe in, actually. I think DNA pops up everywhere. Simple chemistry. The strings won't be long, but it's DNA nonetheless. This beast here, right, will either fight, it's fight or flight. The people who have too much know they have too much. And the animal justifies that because it makes them believe they're superior. It is a disease like alcoholism, where the person says, I'm not an alcoholic. I like to drink. I like to have a few beers. Yeah, dude, but you had a six-pack every day since I've known you. You know what I mean? You don't There's never a day you're not drinking or catch you with a beer, 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. And they refuse to believe it because they can't, because that would shatter their reality. And these billionaires are exactly the same way. The incredulity that I have about billionaires being able to say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna sell $44 billion worth of my wealth. I'm gonna turn it into cash, dollars, fucking greenbacks. Okay, spendable cashola, not fucking hundreds of philanthropic organizations. You target a group. Okay, homelessness. You put a homeless shelter. Now think about that. $44 billion. That's almost $1 billion per state. If you go by population, it's more for some. Okay? And you help these people either survive without having to resort to criminality or criminal behavior and filling for-profit prisons. Okay? We help them get their driver's license back. We give them a place to live and help them become workers in our economy, especially for jobs that other people don't want. This guy will take the fucking job. He just doesn't have a car, doesn't have a driver's license, got caught up in the fucking court system probably for a $200 fucking ticket, and now he's fucked. And billionaires can commit every crime in the book and nothing happens. They get a slap on the wrist. Don't do that. They can buy their way out of trouble. They don't have to go to court. They got 10 fucking lawyers that go to court for them. See, it's the animal. It exists in society. It exists in every one of our institutions. And I've often said here, if anybody can bring me an institution in the United States, and I'll show you the ugly side of it. I mean the really ugly side of it, where it's taking advantage, lying, cheating, stealing, just like the rest of them. And it doesn't have to be that way. We all have a spiritual part of us. And nurture and nature can strengthen either one of those. If you're hated by your father when you grow up, you know what I mean? That's going to affect you. If you're a part of a broken family, you're going to be different than a family that's whole. I mean, nurture and nature is everything. You can have the genes that you were born with. And not everybody, listen, religion is the bane of mankind. Doesn't mean we're not spiritual beings. We are spiritual beings. The very instant we gain sentience, where that animal looked in the water and went, that's me. It's the only thing of value in the universe, period, is that idea that you can look into the heavens and contemplate your creator and the universe. Free will set loose, okay, to run its course. Now, I stress highly to everyone that, the decisions you made there were completed. And no one, when this information was completed, okay, took their own lives. Because it's not permitted. It's the one thing that's not permitted. Because you will just go back and you will cycle and cycle and cycle and cycle until we will go on without you in our reality. But your reality, your little piece of time space, is going to play out back there sooner or later. Everything just goes on without you. The trillions upon untold trillions to the 1,000th power. It's not permitted. That was The people that I'm talking to on the bridge, those people saved me by giving me this task, by telling you how important you are. That you're important. You may not think you are, and you may not. You may want to escape, but there is no escape. You will get on the loop. And I often wondered how many, because I know how stubborn I am. How many billions of times did I not pay attention to those in need, and I selfishly, committed suicide? That was the why that they showed me in my life. There was two ways. There was a splitting point, and I passed through that point one day, and I knew that I had been saved by others around me. That my animal had lost a battle. Okay, still a war going on, but it had lost a very important battle. And I passed through that point, and I knew it. I had to pull over, smoke 5 cigarettes. I was so in shock. All thanks to quantum mechanics. and I knew that sooner or later, that anesthesiologist I talked about that's working with Penrose, I was reading his stuff in 1982. He was interested. He wanted to know, where do we go? Where do we go when we're disassociated from our bodies? And we go somewhere. It's not that you can't feel pain. It's just you're basically dead. They put a clicker in your ear and a flasher in your eye, and they're monitoring you and seeing that your brain is reacting to the stimuli and that you're still alive and okay, but basically you've gone somewhere. They can cut your leg off and you won't realize it. That is your microtubule system. And it took him a long time, and then he finally, when he showed his information to Roger Penrose, there was a melding there of capable thought and science, mathematics and consciousness, and how they need each other. It's this shell. This is the problem. It's the shell. We all fall short. We all fall short. And it's us as a species, but all of us are sentient, and so therefore, not only are you going to go to that dimensional transition, but you don't have a choice. When I describe my leaving my body as I'm watching this little blonde-headed boy float down through the water. And I went, oh, this is what it's like to die. And then I thought I got hit by a semi-truck. Bam! And there I was, in front of 2 little girls who were terrified of me. And the older one said, "You're not supposed to be here." And that's when I was surrounded by these beings. Now, are these beings just spirits? Are they many, 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 many billions of years, kind of an advanced intelligence that works for God? I don't know. Beyond me, right? That's like, again, trying to explain your iPhone to an amoeba. You simply can't do it. And for humans to be so arrogant, you know what I mean? It's the animal. We need to be shown the way to live by someone so superior that there's no fighting back. There's no resistance. There's no 1% controlling 99% of the force on the planet, rejecting a reality that 99% of the population would absolutely be in favor of. I've always thought that if there's going to be an intervention by a superior intelligence that can basically communicate to us, all earthlings, all at one time, all of us getting the same message in our heads, there's going to be a moment where first all the religious people will go, see, I told you we were right, and then they will be put in their place. And then the military will go, yeah, well, we consider this as conquering the earth, and then they'll be fucking disarmed like bitches, and that will be the end of that. And then this superior intelligence would tell every human being that we are going to help you. We're your parents. God has sent us to help you make it through this period that we know you're not going to make it through, because we've seen many, many civilizations destroy themselves. And that's the scary part, that they would let many civilizations destroy themselves, because interfering is one of the great offenses with sentient intelligence or any life, really any planet that's alive as a living being, creature, and any life on that, it deserves its chance to evolve life and sentience just like every other planet, okay? It gets very complicated for the human mind, the animal, to accept and grasp, because you start shaking your foundations. If you believe that there are intelligences watching us right now that are millions of years more advanced than us, that's not what most people think of UFOs. They think thousands of years more advanced than us. That's what they think. They don't think billions of years more advanced than us, where they're traveling interdimensionally and shit. People don't think of that. They think of thousands of years. I did a semi-survey, okay, and asked yourself, oh yeah, these beings could be thousands of years more advanced than us. That's what people think. Not millions, and definitely not billions, because the human mind just can't grasp that. And what that would mean, okay? Since life is the only thing in the universe of value, sentient life, this individual, sentient, information creating, choice making entity that is being born here by playing out my choices. Now, at any time I can make a better choice. At any time that bad information, instead of making bad information, I can now turn that and make good information, I am allowed to do that. That is what the universe wants. It wants an imbalance in good information, love. It's the only thing of value to sentience. And sentience is the only thing of value to God. We're all one. We're all connected, okay? Every sentient being is connected. We all end up right back there with God. And again, it's like trying to explain your iPhone to an amoeba. You can't grasp the concept of no time, and that the number of sentient beings that I saw, the human mind cannot grasp. I always say that I could see for light years, and I just go 5. I don't know why, but I see 5 light years away. And it's all a glowing, kind of a sky blue glow from a disk, just like a galaxy circling a black hole, okay? It's this giant disk, and God is the central pillar. It's every life form, every planet, every sentience, every being that's ever lived or will live was there. And that is why I said, okay, I'll come back. And then they showed me all the pain and the suffering and the horror and the ugliness and the I was like, well, wait a minute, let me change my mind. And they said, no, that's what you chose. When they showed me my life after going back. My near-death experience did change me, but it fucked me up because there were no answers with plain old Newtonian physics, because the reality that I needed to understand did not exist in my mind or my imagination at that time. I just didn't understand on the quantum level that sooner or later everything is just a field. When you get down small enough, and that's what I believe you need to do. In order to understand anything, it needs to be taken down to its smallest possible point of existence. Whether it has mass or not, there has to be a point at which it exists. And this information is coming from a source. These wave functions are being broadcast into this universe from some unknown point, and that is how we perceive it. But I see it as already existing, and it's a crystal. And the crystal starts out small, but then it starts growing as there's more and more intelligence and sentience in the universe. And it's every sentient being has a little piece in that crystal. Like picture a perfect crystal, but with a itty bitty tiny little air bubble over here. That's the space you occupy in this reality. And this crystal is the whole universe, and I see it as each one of us having a length and of time space that we occupy, that we need to fill with the information that we're supposed to bring here and carry. We're supposed to play this information out, because that's why the information is there. We decided then that we were going to create this information. Okay, you live your whole fucking life. You make all your choices. You interacted with every other entity in the universe, exactly like we're playing it out here now in physicality. It was all created, and then bang, we're now playing this information out, and you have to fill your space. This crystal will be perfect in the end, with or without you. We will go on, and there will be little imperfections, because people don't want to be stuck in these bodies. But you'll just sit and cycle until one day, like me, you will decide not to do that, and you'll probably be given a chore on top of it just to get even. There are people out there I'm supposed to tell this to don't be afraid of death. Don't be afraid to live. Okay? And you are more important than you think. The lowest of the low of us can do the smallest thing, and it will reverberate all for the next 1,000 years into ramifications that you cannot comprehend. Again, like trying to explain your iPhone to an amoeba. You have to fill your space, and it will be filled. This fleshy, all the glands and the hormones and the mechanics, we're just fucking clockwork, really. We're just wet clockwork. When you look at the manufacture of TPE, right, or the electron transport chain, those are two of my favorites, because they're so mechanical in the way they operate. They're so mechanical, a literal fucking water wheel run by, fucking proton differential. What the fuck? Fucking little machines that walk down your DNA carrying a fucking verification pack on it, you know what I mean? Some with long legs so they can step over the other machines that are going to be coming the other way. The Medicore disassembling and then reassembling your microtubule system. Fucking mind-blowing. Okay, we're just wet mechanical systems playing out this information. We said we'd do it, and we're going to do it. But at any time, you can make that other choice. You can choose to be better or worse. I'm waiting for a billionaire to say, you know, there's no way for me to be liked or loved in the world. That's what I'm waiting for a billionaire to say. There's nowhere in the world for me to be liked or loved. And I'm going to take all of my wealth and I'm going to spend every penny of it, real money, not these fucking philanthropic organizations with 20 board members, okay, that have their pet little fucking projects. Bullshit. It's fucking homelessness, education, medicine, right? There's places where you can put that money into the hands of individuals. Here, in your fucking hand, here is your 16 suitcases of $100 bills. You may now buy the equipment and hire the people and do what you wish with it. That is giving. That person will go down in history as a Gandhi, as a savior, as a person who finally set a fucking example for those that have so much that it is sinful. We have child labor slaves working to dig cobalt so that we can have our iPhones. It's the animal. See, it gets into it's such an infectious thing that I don't think there's an escape from it. Because what to do with that kind of wealth is so obvious, right? You go, okay, now that I have this big pile here, I'm now going to take this pile and I'm going to make giant sandwiches for everybody. None of them have done that. They go, oh, well, I gave $20 million to this group and $20 million to this group. No, you didn't give them shit. You put $20 million or $50 million or $100 million into an account that's making $8,000 a week in interest. And that's the money that they're using to help people. That principle doesn't fucking go anywhere. And it's managed by a group of 20 people who decide this is what we're going to do with it. Or it's an outright scam like Wounded Warriors. Where's the Wounded Warrior commercials? Oh, Wounded Warriors aren't in fashion anymore? Huh. I guess your fucking reputation caught up to you, right? You never fooled me. Everyone remembers that I was on those guys' ass from the very get-go. When I found out that they spent $288 billion on advertising to make $300 million, and then like a tenth of that went to veterans. These guys were off partying, expensive ski trips, living the life, viva loca. Okay, I think I'm done for the day. This is my Christmas message. Everyone's important. Everyone is important. You will be held accountable for everything you do or do not do. There is no escape. You'll just cycle forever. There is no escape. And everyone is needed. If we don't all, there cannot be a flaw in the crystal, and there will not be a flaw in the crystal. So that's it, period. God is perfection. We can't grasp the idea that the only thing of value is life. If you show someone a big plate of diamonds or a stack of giant gold bars, the first thing people do is they get this fucking want thing. Oh, if I had all those gold bars, I would. Yeah, you'd probably ruin your life. You'd find out how many friends you had. Okay. For those that made it to the end of this, it's probably, this message is probably for you.